What's shaking, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more Duran Duran. And we're going back to their 1990 album Liberty again, up to the seventh tune now. Once again, shout out to Philip for letting me access this album. So the tune's called First Impression. Obviously, that's a well-known phrase, but it relates to the way that something hits you when you first see it, encounter it, meet it, talk to it, if it happens to be a person. Or, I suppose, a talking parrot or other species that uses language, or a representative of such a species. But more seriously, it relates to the way in which humans, and this relates to sort of our evolutionary heritage about having to make quick decisions in not entirely clear circumstances. But yeah, we humans judge things, some more than others, some more unfairly than others, but ultimately, when humans encounter something, including another person, we size them up like visually, psychologically, socially, and so on, and we make judgments based on their actions and statements as to what type of person they may be. Now, the more diligent among us, it's always provisional, it's always, sort of with an asterisk, or with a grain of salt held in sand, or grain of salt held in hand is what I meant to say. But yeah, it's provisional, but the more time that passes, the more you interact with them, the more you see them act and speak, and the more perhaps you gain insight into their thinking, either through their explicit statement or through an analysis of their words and behavior. Over time you do increasingly come to a more definitive, maybe not even definitive, again, the more diligent among us, but at least a more concrete understanding, which is to say, people can always surprise you. Someone that you've known for a long time can still do something that is aberrant in terms of the sort of nature of their character over time. They can go multiple standard deviations away from the mean of their behavior. But yeah, generally speaking, over time, we judge people, and oftentimes the first impression that you get from someone or something colors that understanding over time, even if you come to see that they're a more complex person or that they have different sides that maybe you didn't notice right away. It's undeniable that we humans often judge people right out of the gate, to the point where we decide very quickly, is this someone I want to associate with? Is this someone I'm interested in? And a lot of times those decisions are made based on first impressions, where, perhaps there are people who would really get along well if they sort of came to see who each other are on a more like 360 degree sort of framework. But because they just have this fleeting interaction and they don't make the best impression on each other, they go off and, they never know that they might have been able to work things out. So, I think of all these things when I think of first impression. Now, it might not relate to that kind of concept, two people, do we want to associate with each other or not? It could relate to the, your first impression of, working at a new place or encountering a new sort of socio-cultural atmosphere. It could be a lot of different things. But the concept of first impression, I think, is pretty straightforward. We'll have to see how it manifests. I do enjoy titles that, again, like I've talked about, single word titles sometimes are a bit opaque. It's funny how, like, even just one extra word, it can give you a bit more to work with and to speculate about. So regardless, let's get to it. This is Duran Duran, and the song is from Liberty, 1990, and it's called First Impression.
A rock and roll star.
Who's a rock and roll star?
He turns on the animal. It's that time of day. Here comes little Johnny from the back streets of the UK.
Okay.
He's got the answer. It doesn't go away. Who's gonna treat you right, Jack? Who's gonna change the world tonight?
This is the Ballad of Johnny from the back streets of the UK.
First impression is what you're looking for.
Feels like a Phil Collins track.
Is that your first impression? And this is good enough for you.
Oh, that was a shift. That feels like Power Station or something.
They don't want illusions, a power glory ride. Just running with the neighborhood shadows.
kind of like Duran doing the post-punk thing again. I dig it. I enjoy the call and response almost literally.
A little honey in the back streets of the UK. And it loves the noise, and it loves to play. Just living here right now, boys, 'cause tomorrow's on the way. Say oh, the lasting first impression is what you're looking for. Say oh, is that your first impression? And is that good enough for you? Good enough for you, good enough for you, enough for you.
It does feel like, at least in those few lines, that it is about like, have you seen enough to convince you that we could have something here, or? You could feel a sort of syncopated interlude coming in. Seeds, the possibility. Ooh, that's Warren, right? Shut up and Warren. I like the way that little solo section ended. I dig it. This is a good tune. It has that late 80s, early 90s, like, synth rock kind of feel. It's funny, like, here, at the beginning I was like, oh, it feels like Phil Collins, maybe like Phil Collins' Genesis. This feels like, that vocal was great, the guitar coming back. But it feels like if the vocalist was different, this could be like a Pat Benatar track or something. I gotta react to her stuff. God, really rockin' tune. It's a faster Duran tune also, which I love. My God, dude, Warren, like, I'm gonna set that thing on fire. They're like, hold on though, everyone. We're turning down the music, okay? Yeah, I dig it. Fade out ending notwithstanding. Yeah, it's cool. I dig it. Like I said, I've heard, going into this album, I know Ron and maybe one or two other people were saying this isn't their favorite, but even then, there are some good tunes on it. And what I love, I'm just remembering now, both in regard to this album and Astronaut, there's been a couple of you who have said, you know what, this wasn't my favorite album, but going through it again, maybe it's not as bad as I thought. I really enjoy that. It's fun going through this catalog and talking to all of you Duran fans about the sort of evolution of the band and the different eras and the different songs and sounds. But it's enjoyable to me to know that it's not just like about the way that I'm experiencing the tunes, that some of you are sort of appreciating and coming to a new understanding of some of these tracks. That means a lot to me. It means, again, it's not just about like my experience, but it's this sort of musical party that we've been having. So big ups to all of you. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. That's one of my favorite on the album so far. Like I said, there are like moments where it felt like a power station tune. There's, at the beginning I was kind of getting Phil Collins vibes. At the end, it was like a rockin' Pat Benatar track. I don't know why, like in the couple Duran reactions I've done tonight, I'm hearing so many different strains. But even then, it's again a testament to the fact that they can sort of, over the course of their career, they've gone down different sonic alleyways and incorporated different sonic elements that like are reminiscent of some of the best tunes made by famous bands in a number of different sort of genres. So yeah, big ups to Duran again. Shout out to you all. The next time we come back to this album, let me see what we'll be listening to. As I said, I've said a few times, I don't have the physical album yet, though I do want to stress yet, because one of the first things I'm going to do when I start buying again at the end of this month is to like basically finish my Duran collection in terms of the proper albums. So yeah, the next time we come back to this, it'll be Read My Lips. So yeah, it's a funny phrase, especially coming in the early 90s. People who know early 90s American politics will know that phrase. I wonder if it might relate to that specifically, but of course it's a phrase that, is more generally used in real life and literature and so on. And it's about, making clear that someone understands exactly what you're saying, and is not sort of looking away or distracted and, oh yeah, I hear you, whatever. It's like, no, read my lips, I'm saying this now. So that'll be interesting. We'll talk about it more when we get to that one. Do let me know what you think of this. I'm curious if this is a tune that, even for people who maybe the album isn't the greatest, they like this, or maybe this is one of the tunes that's just sort of a pass for you guys. It's funny, like, I'm beginning to realize a number of you have referred to, like, the number of tracks you skip on an album as sort of helping you, like, rate or, like, rank the albums. So yeah, it seems like it's like rarely does anyone say outright that, this is a terrible track or whatever, but several of you have said at different times, different albums that like, this one's usually a skip for me. So I wonder, let me know if this is a skip for you or if this is a good one. Other than that, I will see you next time. Peace.